My name's John Haldren, and I was diagnosed with anxiety and chronic depression, as well as ADHD.
Yeah, where your mental health journey started.
I started off, like as early as I can remember, being like extremely happy and like bubbly and energetic. It was a long time ago, but when I was about maybe like 9 years old, everything kind of changed, and I started feeling like sad and angry and kind of antisocial and just like upset all the time. And a lot of the people around me like started to notice, and I didn't know. I was like 9 years old. I didn't really know what was happening, but I got like taken to the doctor and to a psychiatrist, and they diagnosed me with like depression and anxiety and started putting me on medication. And as you get older, your memories start to fade. So, now it's like kind of like some of my earliest memories are just like being sad all the time and feeling like helpless and hopeless. And then, obviously when you're young, a lot of kids, everyone's pretty much like bullying each other, and like feelings are hard to, handle and deal with. So it started getting hard in school, and I stopped liking going to school, and everything just got harder, and I just kind of thought that that's like what life is just like sadness and like not knowing why you're sad, because you can have sad days, you can have like a breakup, or someone is mean to you one day and you're sad for the day, and then you wake up the next day and it's all over, it's done, you're good. But to like just sit there crying wondering why am I sad is just like the most devastating feeling in the world. I started seeing a therapist like when I was 10 years old and was on medications. The medications weren't like really, didn't feel like they were helping, so I started switching medications, and nothing really felt like it was working no matter what I was doing. And I think part of that may have been because now like having an older outside perspective, because at the time when I felt like that, it felt like, why even try? Like this is useless to even try. This isn't going to help. Like, which now I realize, was just the depression telling me that. And so I wasn't really working with it, trying to give things a chance. And I know that like wasn't my fault at the time. But I started hurting myself, like cutting myself, or hitting myself, hitting my head into a wall, just anything. And it felt like almost like a release, if anything, which wasn't healthy because there's much better releases. But when that started to become an issue, and I started vocally to people expressing like my want to just end it all and just give up, I got sent to a mental hospital, and that helped in the moment. And once again, I didn't really give it a chance to help. I just wanted to get out of there because I was scared, and like I was young, so maybe like 12 years old or something. And when I was released, I was put in like to outpatient like therapy groups. And then in 7th grade, I got sent to a therapeutic boarding school for a year and a half, where I would just go to school there, and they had therapists all day, and they would teach you a lot with coping mechanisms, and try to help you as much as they can. And still at a young age, I just didn't really give it a chance to work. Then after that, I had another suicide attempt, because I left there and left with some good skills that I guess I learned at the time but wasn't ready to use, wasn't ready to give myself a chance to use. And I think freshman year of high school, I tried to take my life again, was put back into a mental institute, and that time I think helped a little bit more, because as I got older, I got more willing to give things a try. Then after that, I went from having like a lot of friends and stuff, and then went into high school having my last 2 years of junior high at this boarding school, and then the beginning of my high school experience being in a mental institute, and then outside of that being in a outpatient therapy group for a couple months. I didn't really have a lot of friends, which made it even harder. I was kind of like isolated, and there was just like nothing like that feeling. But I started meeting new people and giving the meds a try again, which ultimately, just for me, I don't really think I found the one that really worked for me, but I still used a lot of the like coping mechanisms like breathing and writing things down and really talking to my therapist and everything, and that really helped me get through a lot of that period of time. And then when I got to college, I kind of found it as like an opportunity to like reinvent myself and be who I wanted to be and change. And still at the beginning there was it was like tough to kind of be pushed into the real world, and like first time just like completely on your own, and that was also hard and kind of brought me back down a little bit. But like I said, as I got older, I became more willing to really utilize like resources around me, which helped get me through it all. And then I eventually ended up beating depression maybe 2 years into college. And although like still have, you know, days that are bad, I like can look back and be like, holy shit, am I allowed to swear?
Yourself, yeah.
Thank you. Like, holy shit, I just did that for like 10 years, and I fought through all that like it made me stronger. And now like when I have bad days, I look at that and think about the fact that of just like the lowest of my lows, and how no matter like how low it feels in these moments right now, it's like nothing compared to that. And if I beat that and could get through that, I can literally do anything.
If you could have one piece of advice for your younger self, what would that be?
Definitely be to utilize like the resources around me. And also like in the time when you feel depressed, you feel, no matter how much people tell you that you're not alone and that it will get better, your brain kind of convinces you otherwise, and you just feel like everyone's lying to you, which I can just know now firsthand is just not the case. And as I got older, I learned just how many people are depressed or have anxiety and struggle with this stuff, and how many people that I see on the outside as people that are just normal and living a great life are also struggling the same way I am. And I think that like knowing for a fact that it will get better, and that like people around you are in the same boat and are there for you, and that's just like a huge piece of advice that I wish like I personally could have told myself, like, and convinced myself, like, I promise you, no matter what, it's going to get better, and you will beat it. And it might take 6 months, it might take 10 years, but each day that you fight, you'll be stronger when it's all over, and life will be way more beautiful than it was if you didn't have those battles, you know, because now, knowing what the lowest of lows are like, I can see life as just, you know, how beautiful it is. And I don't think that if I fought through all that, that I would be able to look at life like that.
So like the biggest piece of advice that helped you push along, or was it mostly yourself, like convincing yourself?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think breathing was, at the time it seemed like so dumb. Like, what is breathing gonna do? I breathe every day. What's that gonna do for me? But those like long, deep breaths really help. Like I've used those in so many scenarios where I'm freaking out, and crying also helps. Honestly, like as like I don't know the word for it, but kind of like there's a bad stigma around like crying, and it like really does help and just gets you through that moment of pain. And but the breathing for sure is the biggest one, and for me, one of the biggest things that like kept me from actually taking my life was thinking about like my family and all the people around me, and like what that would be like for them if I did, like how hard that would be for all of them. Yeah, I guess that's it.
So explain what you think was the biggest turning point in all this for you.
I'd say there were a few that happened like pretty quickly between each other. I think that like one of the biggest ones was leaving home and being at college, where just life is just fresh and new, and like I said, like getting to that point where I could just be like, I don't want to be who I am right now. I want to be someone new, and then working every day at like trying to become that. Obviously, it's always a work in progress, but becoming who I wanted to be and finding new people that I could surround myself with, that I connected more with, was a huge piece. And then finding like my true passion in life and following that instead of like just following what I think would work, you know, what would be like what, you know, people would want out of me. Instead, just finding my passion and following that with like my whole heart really helped. Just kind of getting older and all those experiences kind of building up that, you know, and all the lessons I learned that I could use. And it just like one day I was just like, holy shit, like I'm not sad. Why? It's almost like back when I was younger, I was like, why am I sad? And now I was like, why am I not sad? Like, this is crazy. And then waking up the next day and be like, why? I'm still not sad. Like, this is a great day. And then wake up the next day and being like, I think it's done. I think it's gone.
So out of all this, what do you think was the worst pain you've ever felt that wasn't physical?
Probably the last time that I almost attempted suicide, when I was standing on the ledge of a bridge of a freeway and was rocking back and forth over it and was about to jump, and I was playing a song in my head or playing a song in headphones, and was just like took a long hard thought right before I was ready to jump about my family and my friends, and just kind of picturing exactly what would happen after that moment of just, you know, if I were to die right now, what would their lives be like? And vividly picturing all the pain that they would be in just hurt me so much. And it was a pain that like I would never want to feel again, but I needed to feel in that moment to prevent me from making the worst decision I've ever could have made in my entire life. And I'm so thankful that I felt that pain that could have gotten me to continue life.
You could give some words of wisdom to people who are going through similar thoughts or feelings and they don't really know how to cope with it. What would you leave them with, like the last word?
I promise you that it will always get better. And whenever you're down, you can think back on the lowest of lows that you've had and how you woke up the next day and continued that day, and then you woke up the day after that and continued that day, and how that won't be forever. It's only a small piece in your long life that you will be happy in, and I promise you that all the fighting and all the pushing and everything is all worth it, because you will come out of it with a whole new perspective, a whole better life, and then after that, you'll have the rest of your life to enjoy and to bond with people about, because it really is a bonding thing when, you know, you meet people and that feel the same way. all the new people you'll meet, all the places that you'll go. It'll all be worth it.
That was